What it do, baby? It's your boy Baki back with another one. I just finished The Boys season 4 and I just wanted to talk about it, give it a little quick review, my thoughts on this season and where it's going from there. If you haven't done so, I'd love to have you subscribe. Welcome to the channel if you guys are new. We talk about anything and everything here, and right now we're going to be talking about The Boys season 4. My favorite things about The Boys season 4 was it was actually a pretty strong season where a lot of things happen. What I really like about The Boys in general is the status quo does shift quite a bit. And I enjoy that somehow they kind of almost always get it back to square one of The Boys starting over almost, like a reset. This season was no different. It very much follows that same formula. Now, the first few episodes weren't really the strongest for me, but they still had crazy moments that were just out of this world. And I think that's what The Boys specializes in, obviously, is those crazy out of pocket moments, them going to the convention. Just everything at the convention was wild, bro. We also got 2 new heroes that we got introduced to that are like really a part of it. I mean, aside from Tech Knight, which we already knew about, but Sage and Firecracker. Sage I really liked. I really like Sage. I really like Sage. And the irony of like her character as her being the smartest, but she's still stupid enough to get her eyes scraped so she can become dumb for a little bit is like the strangest thing on the planet if you think about it. Like, but it's ironic because she's supposed to be the smartest, but that's still a dumb thing to do ever. Like, why would you ever do that? So I really love Sage. I think Sage is a really smart character. I'm not sure if she's in the comics or not, or how any of that goes, because I really only read a little bit of The Boys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of my favorite moments were the trauma moments that we dealt with in the show, dealing with Starlight, dealing with Huey and his father, dealing the stuff with Kimiko, even the stuff with Frenchie. Like, there's a lot of trauma in this season, and I think that might be the theme of the season. Is the trauma is like, and even Homelander. I mean, there's so much trauma in this season that I would say that's probably the strongest reoccurring theme that you see, is how everyone deals with trauma different, how Homelander deals with it, and Starlight and Huey, and everyone takes and deals with their trauma completely different. And it just shows you the variety of character that they have in this show, and that the show is actually really well written and pretty smart put together in that sense, because that didn't need to be there for any of those characters, and they could have just made it more cheesy moments of them showing corny Vought commercials or whatever else. And what I noticed about this season was all the Vought commercials and all the corny like little cheesy moments were either you were behind the scenes now seeing how it's done, so you're with Homelander and his son Ryan, right? You're with them doing it all, or it was really quick or it's short and they would cut it. So that was something else that I noticed, is like there was a lot of story to unpack in this season. And I know that people weren't really feeling the season in the beginning. I wasn't either. But I think upon rewatch, this season might become like a sleeper season that we weren't really expecting. I also loved where it ended, man. Like, if we're gonna dive there real quick, like let's talk about just the idea of where it is right now. We're in a whole new, that last episode was worth watching the whole season. Honestly, it really was, because I wasn't expecting it, and then I'm just like, wait a second, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And then when it happened, and the shit happens with Newman, you're like, okay, whole new status quo, bro. I'm not even talking about the shit with Butcher. I'm talking about the shit with Homelander and Newman, like in the during the interview. That part right there is the whole new status quo, the game changer. Boom, bam, and then we find out, boom. But see, that's one of the things where we can get to the bad about it, though. All of this was so predictable. That's the one thing that I did not like about this season. Everything was so obvious. I don't know why everything was so obvious. When they kicked out Sage, it was obvious she was coming back. When Butcher was talking to himself, it was obvious he was talking to himself. When just everything like that was just a bunch of obvious statements, and we knew it already. It was like kind of weird, man. I didn't really like that aspect of it because they kept acting like these were big reveals, but I'm just like, bro, who didn't see that coming? Who out there did not see those things coming? We all saw them coming, you know? So that I didn't really like. But I really love that last episode, man. Now the status quo is completely changed, bro. It's completely different now. We're in a whole new world. The boys are in trouble. They're all in trouble except for Starlight, who flew away. And we're going to see what happens, man. We're going to see what happens. I don't know. I don't know. If there was any ugly here, there really isn't any ugly here, to be honest with you. I really, really just enjoyed this. I enjoyed the show pretty much through and through. You know, the bad would be the first few episodes that didn't really rock too well with me, but it still was fine though. Like, oh, the Frenchie reveal that he was gonna tell the dude, like everything was just a little too on the nose. You know, that would be like the bad / ugly for me. It was a little too obvious in some moments and some scenes, but the action was great. The stuff with Starlight was great. Like even Starlight dealing with the shifter seeds were incredibly good. There was a lot of moments where, like I said, the trauma is just that's what reaches out to me more than anything else in this season. You know, dealing with Butcher almost dying. You know, even Ryan dealing with that shit. Homelander dealing with the trauma of his son not really loving him or thinking that he doesn't love him. You know, so because he's got pictures of his other dad. You know, just things like that are absolutely prevalent in this season. And I think that it's a great season because of that. You know, like in the other seasons, it was kind of like a mission objective, right? In this season, they know the mission objective, but they can't go about completing it in an easy way. It doesn't matter if you know it at this point because it's such a crazy mission. Like you have to make sure everything's lined up properly. So I think that was what the genius behind this season was for me personally, was the way that it was constructed. Was it wasn't really about the mission objective, get Soldier Boy to kill Homelander, or you know what I mean? Like the first few seasons are much more mission based. You know, they step in shit and then it becomes mission based. You know, whereas here it's much more. They know the mission, but they have to deal with all the rest of this shit in front of them, kind of, you know, everything else that they've muddled throughout the show and season. And I wasn't expecting them to be able to end here and have me not worried for the, you know, because they only have one more season left. But how they ended it, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I can't wait to see where the season goes because next season is completely off the rails. It's off. It's nothing like how The Boys ends in the comic. And the reason why I know that is because I know how The Boys ends in the comic. I just haven't read this shit personally, but I've seen how it ends. So it's completely off the rails next season. So I'm truly excited to see what they do with it, because that means that I don't have to be worried about, oh, how are they going to tie this up like Game of Thrones. When Game of Thrones last season happened, I was like, you telling me there's only 8 more episodes left or 10 more episodes or whatever it was? I was like, how are they going to tie all this up in 10 episodes, bro? And that they were end up teleporting around and all that stuff. We don't have to worry about that here. You know, they're going to close this up in their own special way. And I think that it's going to be very unique to the superhero world in general. Maybe a new status quo shakeup, which I think like Invincible may become as well as the seasons get better. But we'll talk about that eventually. Standout moments for me, again, Sage. Absolutely loved Sage. Absolutely loved the creepy Homelander episode where he went back home. Absolutely loved the last episode. Last 2 episodes were extremely strong for me. Last 3 episodes, I'd say, were just like some of my absolute favorite episodes. I'm trying to think what else. Anything else I want to say? Like the relevancy to what's going on in the world is pretty crazy, you know, that they had like the crazy kind of similarities between like what's going on in real life and kind of what's going on in the show. But, you know, life imitates art and vice versa, you know, so of course things are going to blend together and match, you know what I'm saying? Like don't read too hard into the conspiracies or anything like that. Anybody talking about like any of the woke stuff and all that shit, like that's the whole point of the show. You goofballs. I don't know what you guys are talking about or complaining about in that aspect. I don't understand that. That's on y'all. Yeah, aside from that, that's about it for me. If I had to give it a number, I guess I would give this season, I'd give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. It turned around in a major way, and all of the trauma moments in this season I think were pretty fucking apparent and relevant and cool, and made the characters deeper. So I can't be mad at it, you know, even if I don't necessarily like some of the character development, like what happened to him. That's none of my business anyway. You know, just like a real person, like, you know what I mean? It's like something that you can't be like mad at that somebody went through something, you know? So for me personally, like I really respect the trauma moments that everybody dealt with in this season. And I think that it was a really, really dope moment for the boys, you know? The one that was a little cheesy was Starlight, when Firecracker was like, I'm gonna tell everything about you or whatever, and she was like, she had that fucking face, you know? Like, I don't know what that was about. That was a little lame, but the rest of it I really, really respected and thought was dope. And I thought the trauma that everybody having to deal with was fucking cool. I thought the shit at the end was fucking cool. R.I.P. to old girl, you know, Butcher's handler. You know what I'm saying? Like all that shit with Ryan is crazy. I don't know what's gonna happen. It looks like it might be Ryan, Soldier Boy, and Homelander. I don't who knows, bro. Who knows where it's gonna go? But either way, again, solid 8.5, man. First 3 episodes, I was scared, but the last 5 definitely knocked it out of the park for me personally, where I actually really, really enjoyed it. I still wouldn't put it above the other seasons, though. The other seasons have all pretty much been 9s for me. Like, The Boys season 1 is probably a 9.5. Boys season 2 is probably a solid 9. I didn't really like season 2 that much, but again, some things happened in that season that turned it around. Season 3 is probably my favorite season, aside from season 1. But season 1's intro is just so crazy. So, you know, I have to you're already 3 seasons in, you know. So it'd probably be a tie between season 1 and season 3, and then maybe season 2 and then 4. I think that's how it would go. It'd probably go like 1, 3, 2, 4 right now. But 4 might take over 2, honestly, because I'd have to rewatch season 2. I only rewatched season 1, and I had rewatched season 3 before I started season 4. So I haven't seen 2 in a while, so I'd have to rewatch that. But yeah, this season was really, really strong for me. It ended a lot better than I thought, man. What do you guys think is gonna happen? Speculate below, bro. Please let me know if you guys, what do you think is gonna happen? Because it's gonna be nothing like the comic. So like, what's gonna happen? They're bringing back Soldier Boy. What do you think is gonna happen with that? I really need to know. All right, y'all. That's gonna be it for me on this one. Check out my reviews. We're gonna be kicking out another Crisis on Infinite Earths, total part 1, part 2, part 3, just total wrap up, how my overall feelings are and everything like that. So if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Love to have you here, and I'll see you mofos on the next one. Peace.